Hey, 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 all you people out there in YouTube land. Man, it is about 10:30. What is it, Tuesday? Tuesday night. And I am in Lima, Ohio. First time I've ever been here. You ever been to Lima, Ohio? Well, me neither. Anyway, I'm going to share a few things for you this evening. Number one, I drove 653 miles today on an ELD, legal, on the clock. Left out of Minneapolis at 8:30 this morning, and I was backed in here to the door prior to 10 o'clock this evening. And I'll give you a few tips on, because I have people that say, dude, there ain't no way that you ran. You know, you can't run 650 miles on ELDs in a governed truck in an 11-hour driving period. Well, today was 653 miles. And I'll go over a few tips with you today and show you how you can increase your mileage when you're on ELDs in a governed truck. The other thing I'm going to talk about is how you work together with other drivers by using your CD when you're going down the interstate. How y'all can actually work together and help each other out while you're rolling down the road. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a navigation tip that this will put 10 to 15 minutes more driving time on your clock every single day. Every single day. First of all, let's talk about this working together with a CB going down the road, because this was actually pretty cool today. Going down Interstate 94 from Minneapolis towards Chicago, and we just passed Madison, about exit 132 there. And there's a guy, he's poking along. I mean, he's doing like, you know, and I'm in a governed truck, 64 miles an hour. So when I come running up your butt, you're definitely poking. He was poking about 58 miles an hour. So I jumped out in the left lane and went around him. As soon as I went around him, I set my cruise on 64. I should have been pulling away from him at 6 miles an hour, right? Oh no, this guy speeds up like he wants to hug my tail or whatever. Some people, right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense the way he was driving. Well, anyway, so I'm in a governed truck 64 mile an hour, and I got a guy that's right behind me. And the guy that's behind him is in a truck. It's a governed truck also, but it runs a little bit faster, you know, say 65. And you've heard me talk about this scenario before. Is it played out again today? It's almost a daily occurrence. Anyway, so the third guy back there, his truck does 65. Man, when you're sitting behind somebody and they're doing 64 and you can do 65, it just drives you nuts. If you've got cruise adaptive following radar, it's messing with you. The bells and the alarms are going off. It's hugging within the 2.7 second following perimeter. So you got alarms that are going off. I mean, these modern trucks, they'll absolutely drive you nuts. I'd like to have a brand new truck without any of this electronic garbage on it. No emissions. I don't want any adaptive cruise following radar. I don't want the obstacle avoidance radar on the right hand side. That thing drives me nuts too. This one's also got a G-force indicator on it. It's supposed to start singing to you before the truck tips over. Also, if you have a high G-force, like you hit something or something, it keys off that starts recording data on the ELDs. I mean, it's just nuts. And plus, if you've ever heard me talk about before, these trucks, I'm in a 2017 Peterbilt. Would be a dadgum good truck if they take all this electronic stuff and throw it out the door. Doesn't have mechanical issues. No, it's a good running truck. Gets good fuel mileage. I mean, I love the truck. I just hate all this electronic crap on it. The other thing is all this emission controls and regen and all that garbage, which doesn't solve a thing. That stuff doesn't help at all. But anyway, back to my story. But before I get back to my story, let's do this about a regenerating diesel engine. It's for emissions, right? Maybe y'all can tell me this. Those laws aren't federal laws, are they? I believe. Now I may be talking out my butt here, but I believe the emission laws are only in 2 states. California went that way. The manufacturers went that way to appease California because it's a major population segment. And all the rest of the manufacturers followed suit. But I don't believe it's a federal mandate. I believe there's only 2 states in the union that require the emissions. The rest of the states are not required to have them. I may be wrong about that. I don't know. I also heard a rumor that the 2019 Peterbilt, you're able to buy a new truck without the emissions on it. Wouldn't that be a treat? But let me tell you how stupid this is. I'll just do this from an engineering side, okay? The whole idea of these emissions on these trucks is to reduce the molecular pollution coming out of the exhaust. So, the particuli. So what happens is you've got this filter and container in the exhaust system that collects all these particles, these pollutant particles, right? Keeps them all from going out the exhaust. Well, let me ask you this. You know how a truck regens, right? What it does to regen is it superheats the exhaust. It brings up the RPM. It's dropping exhaust through the exhaust pipe at about 1,200 pounds. Hey, a trailer just rocked. They're getting ready to unload me. I may not get through the video. So if the truck is regenting, high temperature exhaust, I've heard temperatures like 1,200 degrees, and what that does is it burns all the particles, the contaminants, out of the storage container in the exhaust line and blows them out the exhaust. So what's the difference in running down the highway, gradually putting them out, as into saving them all up and then burning them all off at one time? The same amount of pollution is going outside. Am I wrong? No, I haven't studied it. I don't know the particulars in it. Maybe it's a temperature chemical reaction thing. I don't know. But just my basic logic without opening a book on it sounds like bullshit to me. Anyway, let me get back to my story. Working together with your CB when you're going down the road. So I'm at 64. This one guy decides that he wants to put his foot back in and he's climbing up my butt, but he's not jumping in the left-hand lane. The third guy sitting back here in a Volvo, he's doing 65 and he wants to come around it so he can keep his 65 mile an hour pace, right? So he jumps over in the left lane. He jumps over in the left lane and we just grab the right kind of hill, the right kind of slope. Now I'm doing 65. The guy behind me is hugging up on my butt. The guy over there in the Volvo is right beside the guy behind me in the left lane. But he's stuck. He can't go any faster. And Billy Big Rigger has climbed up his tail at a long-nosed Pete. And sitting right behind him in traffic has come up behind the second guy. So the guy in the Volvo, he's trapped. I'm watching this in my rear view mirror like, oh crap, Mr. Volvo, you jumped out there, now you ain't got the balls to get around. Anyway, he ran over there trapped for about a mile and finally he picked up the CB, hollered at the guy behind me. He goes, hey dude, could you take your foot out of it for just a second and let me slide in here behind Magnum? The guy never does answer him. Never takes his foot out, doesn't give him a gap. He's trapped. So we're all going to be rolling down the road in this cluster for who God knows how long. Anyway, I watched it for over a half a mile after the guy requested it. Finally, I reached over and grabbed my CB mic and I picked it up. I said, "Hey, Mr. Volvo, I'm going to fix this for you." Now, if I'd have tapped my brakes, the guy behind me would have known that I purposely slowed him down so Mr. Volvo could get around us. So I didn't want to light up my lights, Don't fight battles that you don't have to. No reason to piss somebody off for obvious reasons. So all I did was generally tap your brakes to release your cruise control so the truck will coast down a couple miles an hour. So instead of tapping my brakes, I just reached up here on the steering wheel and turned the cruise control off. And then re-engaged it about 3 miles an hour slower. What this did was that the guy that was behind me climbing up my butt forced him, because he was trapped in the right lane, forced him to slow down. We let the Volvo go past us. The guy in the Volvo goes, "Man, Magnum, I sure do appreciate that." Because I was sitting over here trapped and he was talking about the situation. I said, "Yeah, I watched that unfold." I said, "That's crap, man. I hate that." I said, "I'm in a governed truck at 64 miles an hour. I said, but I didn't have no way to get out of your way. And this guy behind me wasn't going to be polite in any shape, form, or fashion, was just going to leave you out there to roast." So anyway, me and him chit-chatted as we went all the way down the highway. Anyway, after he got in front of me, he pulls over in the right-hand lane. Now the guy that was, and of course the long-nosed Pete, he takes off. He's doing 70 miles an hour. He just left all of us. And then the guy that was behind me, he wants to come up beside me and give me a ration of crap through the window, right? I'm ignoring him. And the guy in the Volvo in front of me hollers back on the CB. He goes, "Hey man, is that guy trying to give you a bunch of crap through the windshield or what?" And I said, "I don't," we're talking on CB. I said, "I don't know. I ain't looking at him and I don't read sign language. So if he wants to talk to me, I guess he's going to go have to invest in a CB then, won't he?" I said, "I don't understand how these drivers drive out here and they don't have a CB in the truck. Doesn't make any, man, your day goes so much." Just simple stuff like that, man. I use my CB every day. We solve problems with it every day. Sometimes you go to shippers, you can check in with the CB without ever getting out of your truck and get a door. I mean, it just makes life so easy. You come up, says right on the fence, check in, channel 12, turn to channel 12. "Hey, Jenny O, this is Magnum. I've got a 10 o'clock appointment." Roger that, Magnum. Go ahead and stick it in door 78. Bring your paperwork to door 64 to check in. Thank you very much. It works just that easy. I love it, man. But let me tell you about this load I did today. This was pretty wild. I got to give you a little backstory. I've had a bad last 5 or 6 days. Last 5 or 6 days sucked. I come off a home time, jump back in the truck on Thursday. They didn't have a load for me on Thursday. They didn't have a load to pick up till Friday evening at 7 o'clock in the evening in Tulsa. Well, it's only 700 miles from Tulsa back up to Minneapolis. That's a day and a couple hours, right? So I'm getting into Minneapolis on Saturday night, and I had sent messages to different dispatchers, said, "Hey, I'm coming in. I'd rather not wait for a load till Monday. This load doesn't drop till Monday. I'd like to drop it in the yard, let one of the LTL guys deliver it Monday morning. Man, grab me another loaded trailer going somewhere far, far away that I can latch onto and go. I want to go. I need some miles. I just come off home time." Anyway, nobody ever got back to me. I know it's late Friday, weekend and everything. No dispatchers, nobody ever give me a call back. They just left me out hanging. So Monday morning, I go to deliver the load Monday morning, and guess what? It wasn't for Monday. The delivery was for Tuesday. I was still a day early. I was sure as hell wasn't going to sit around another day waiting for a load. sometimes the squeaky wheel is the one that gets the attention. The loudest squeaky wheel gets the attention. You heard that? I'm not one for whining or complaining, but man, I wind up a storm on this. I need a load. I need to go. I need to make some money, because I'd had 5 days invested in this, and I didn't have but about 700 miles. Man, that'll kill a paycheck in a heartbeat. And that generally don't happen with Magnum. It's the other way around. They just run your face in the dirt. You know, if there's some weeks I get 4,000 miles. As long as I get 3,000 miles, I'm a happy camper. I'm okay if I only get 2,500 miles, but I'm not a happy camper about it. So when I'm looking at 5 days and all I got 700 miles in the bank, I am not pleased. Anyway, so I shot off an email and just kind of complained about everything. Maybe I ought to do that more often, because I got a call from the recruiter. I got a call from the head dispatcher. I got a call from the area dispatcher, and I got a call from my driver manager. Everybody going, dude, we are so sorry. We dropped the ball, but we're going to make it up to you. And that's how I got this load. So the head dispatcher goes, well, how fast can you get underneath the trailer and get 100 miles down the road to pick up a load? And I said, I could pick, if it's 100 miles away, I can get underneath the trailer, sweep it out, probably be there in 2 hours. You gotta remember, this is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. He goes, okay, he goes, I got a load that's going to Lima, Ohio. He goes, it's about 750 miles with your deadhead, maybe close to 800. He goes, what makes it a good load is going to be a fast turnaround. He goes, it's got to go quick. You'll get there, you'll drop it. We should have another load coming back out of there the next day. He goes, but you're going to have to hurry up and get underneath this one so that you can make this load that's coming up. I said, well, what's the load coming up? He goes, the load coming up is a hazmat load, and it's going to Seattle, Washington. Freaking yeehaw. Yes, thank you very much. I don't care if I have to sit and wait 6 or 8 hours for that load. I want that one. See, a hazmat load, we get a nickel a mile more on a hazmat load than we do on a reefer load. So I got a pay increase. Plus, I haven't checked the miles yet, but I imagine Seattle, Washington from Lima, Ohio is probably around 1,400 miles or better. That's a good run. So if I can pick that puppy up tomorrow's Wednesday, I could be in Seattle Monday, drop it Monday, grab another load and come back. That would make my payday up. Well, at least make it not quite so painful. So I had to be here to get this load, but when I got this load, the way it was dispatched to me was I had to go 100 miles northwest of Minneapolis to pick it up. And if you saw my last video, this is the load we're talking about picking up, that one with that nose into the parking lot, back in across the street into an alley dock. That was a wicked in and out. I mean, it was tight. It was a little hairy. Actually turned into a piece of cake. But the deal is with that is it might have been a funky way in, and going out was cake. And getting into the dock was awful tight and all that kind of good stuff. But I tell you this, by the time I nosed in the parking lot across the street, guard come out of the guard check to my door, checked me in right there, walked out in the street, blocked traffic while I backed across the street into the alley, into the dock. From the time that I checked in with the guard till the time that I was on the interstate a mile away heading back to Minneapolis was 29 minutes. And I'm fully loaded, over 40,000 pounds in the box. Yeehaw. Gotta love that. So anyway, by the time I get up there, get the load, and I'm headed back, I get back to Minneapolis, it's about 7 o'clock in the evening. Now I got time on my clock. I could run for another 4 or 5 hours. But if I did that, that's going to put me, down around Madison. And from Madison to Chicago late at night, parking is a little hard to find. But this load was originally dispatched me to where it wasn't going to deliver until noon tomorrow. Which means that I could go ahead and just stop and spend the night there in Coon Rapids at our terminal, not worry about parking. Get up the next day, make a real casual day of it, run 500, 550 miles, then get up Wednesday morning, run the last 100, 120 miles into this dock, drop this load by noon. This will all be good, right? Well, this is where you got to learn how to adapt and overcome, folks, because just when you think everything is just sunshine and rainbow, some asshole comes along and throws a wrench in the whole deal. And darling, if you're the one that made this phone call, that's just a matter of speech. Don't take another person. Don't get butthurt over it. I love you, baby. Yeah, so don't go there. I'm talking about my DM. I just love her to death. She's just a sweetheart. And I know that her heart's always in the right place, and she's always out to take good care of me. So when things don't go wrong, I know it's not something that she did intentionally. Well, this is one of those times. So I didn't get to sleep. Couldn't go to sleep last night. Didn't get to sleep till about 1 o'clock in the morning. Even though I had my alarm set for 7 a.m., man, I was pounding that snooze button every 10 minutes. I pounded that snooze button all the way to 8 o'clock. Well, my DM calls me at 10 minutes after 8. Walt, I am so sorry, but we have made a mistake. That load was improperly dispatched. And I thought, what are you going to do? You can't take the load away from me. I'm underneath it already. She goes, no. She goes, in the communication it said that that's supposed to drop on the 28th at 1200. And I went, yeah, it's noon on Wednesday. She goes, yeah, that's what's wrong about it. That load doesn't drop at noon on Wednesday. That load drops at midnight tonight. And you gotta understand that I'm still in the rack of sleep. Door to door, from where I'm sitting at the terminal to back into this door, is 647 miles. Now, if you run a governed truck that runs 64 miles an hour, do the math. Now, you think, well, doing the math, then 660 miles, you should be able to run 700 miles. I ran 680 once. I generally run 600 to 640, and that's really working my clock. Tonight I ran 653 miles. I left out of there at 8:30 in the morning. I was backed in here to the door prior to 10 o'clock. Don't ask me no questions. I'll tell you no lies how I did that. I'm all legal, up to snuffy. If DOT was to pull me over and audit my logs right now, I am AJ squared away, passed with flying colors. I'm not even going to explain how I did that. So I'm in here at the dock, and they're unloading me right now, and it's still over an hour till my appointment time. This is going to work out good. So I told you at the first of this video that I was going to give you a navigation tip. Now y'all know that I run my face off. I run miles. I'm a worker. I'm the kind of horse that you just drop the reins and give his head and let him run. Because I will just flat boogie constantly every day if I can. That's the way I like to do it, and I like to keep moving. You ever want me to get my head on backwards where I start getting upset? start laying me over, had me a couple days sitting, forced me into a situation where I got a 34-hour reset. Any of those things, man, I get my head on backwards and my attitude kind of goes to crap. As long as you keep me running and I'm burning miles, I am one happy puppy. First in the video, I told you I was going to give you a navigation tip. Knowing the way that I run, a lot of people say that, you know, you really got to be good at trip planning and planning your route and your day and this, that, and the other. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't plan squat. This is the way I do it. You give me a load, I'm going to be there 1 hour prior to my appointment time to pick up my load. As soon as my trailer is loaded, I'm going to run every minute on my clock as fast as I possibly can to get there. And I'm going to try to get there 10 hours prior to my appointment time so I can take my 10-hour break. I actually like to take about an 8-hour break so I get 8 hours of sleep, 2 hours for my appointment to unload the trailer, and I'm ready to pick up another load and be gone. That's the way I like to run. But I'm going to tell you, I don't plan squat. I never plan a trip, none of that. I don't look to see where I'm going to get gas. I don't plan my fuel. I don't plan fuel stops. I don't do none of that. I just run. Navigation. This is how I do my navigation. Now, you may have heard people tell you that, you know, stop, you know, about 10-15 minutes before you get to your appointment location. Pull up a satellite view. Look at the way to go in there. Plan your route and everything. That eats up time. That's 10 minutes. Maybe 15 minutes you trying to figure out what you're going to do. Like my daughter says. Because I used to tell her all the time. Me and my daughter are totally different. I don't plan nothing. I just wing it. And everything turns out dandy. It's like everything turns to gold. My daughter is definitely a B personality. I mean, she is blue through and through. She's got to plan out her week, plan out her day. She lays out all of her clothes the night before. Everything's got to be in order for the next day or she can't even go to sleep, right? I'm not that way. I'll worry about it when I open my eyes in the morning. But here's your navigation tip. This is why I don't have to plan nothing. In this Peterbilt, I've got a co-pilot navigation in the dash. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically a Rand McNally that Peterbilt has paid for the licensing to put it in their trucks. A Peterbilt co-pilot is a Rand McNally. You just, Rand McNally. If you're going to buy a GPS, buy a Rand McNally or don't buy nothing else. Everything else is garbage. I've ran Google Maps. I've ran Garmin's. I've ran TomToms. Believe me. In a truck, the only thing you want is a Rand McNally. So I'm running a Rand McNally in the dash. At the same time on my phone, which you see where it's sitting right now to shoot this video, that's where my phone is mounted when I'm driving down the road and I've got Google Maps up. But when I've got Google Maps up, it's in the satellite view. Now, if you have, even in Google Maps, you can go in and set the parameters. You know, I've got a 75-foot long truck. I'm 13'6" high. I weigh 80,000 pounds. You know, you can put these parameters in there so it won't send you under bridges and do that kind of stuff. But even though, it'll still send you through residential areas, down tight streets. It's not a Rand McNally, it's Google Maps. But the satellite view on Google Maps is ta-ta meow, it's the bomb, man. So what I'm doing is when I'm coming into a location, I'm following the Rand McNally, but I'm glancing at the satellite view from time to time to recognize buildings, to understand that this is the right turn, etc., etc. And it keeps rerouting because I'm following the Rand McNally instead of following Google Maps. I don't care. Where the key is when I'm coming up to the location, I'm looking at an overhead satellite view as I'm approaching it. So I don't have to plan anything. I can figure it out as I go. Right there's your little tip that'll save you 10-15 minutes. Now I'm about ready to finish this video. I was talking to James on the phone. Every time I talk to James on the phone, I always tell him a joke before I get off the phone. And he suggested that every time I do a video, the last thing I should do is tell a joke before I get off the phone. So here's your joke for the day. Knowing that I'm an old minister, I'll give you a religious joke. And for those of you that may be of a different denomination or whatever, don't get all butt hurt over it. It's just a joke. It's just funny. And I assure you that I've told this joke to every Baptist preacher I've ever met. I'm still friends with him. Anyway, there's this little boy. Sunday afternoon after church, little boy going down the middle of Main Street, and he's dragging a wagon full of puppies. Sees the Baptist preacher walking down the street. Baptist preacher's on his way down to the general store. As he comes up to the little boy goes, "Hey, preach." Preacher goes, "Well, how are you doing, Tommy?" Little Tommy goes, "I'm doing great, Preach. You ought to get one of these puppies." He goes, Baptist preacher goes, "No, Tommy, I don't think I need a puppy today." He goes, "Preach, I'm telling you what, you'll want to get one of these puppies. They're special." Preach goes, "Okay, I'll bite. What's so special about them?" He goes, "Well, these are Baptist puppies." Oh, the preacher goes, "Oh, Tommy, you're pulling my leg." He laughs at him and goes ahead and walks into the general store. Leaves little Tommy outside. Well, a week goes by. It's next Sunday. This time the Baptist preacher and the Methodist preacher are walking down the street having a chit-chat on their way to the general store. Just happened to run into little Tommy again. Little Tommy's still dragging that wagon full of puppies, trying to give puppies away. This time he hits up the Methodist preacher. He goes, "Hey, Preach." Methodist preacher goes, "What's up, Tommy?" Little Tommy goes, "Hey, Preach, I got puppies here to give away. Would you like a puppy?" Methodist preacher goes, "Well, Tommy, I don't think I need a puppy today." He goes, "Oh, Preach, you'll want one of these puppies. They're special." Methodist preacher goes, "What's so special about them?" He goes, "All these puppies are Methodist puppies." Now the Baptist preacher just had it. He got to let loose. "Now, Tommy, don't you be fibbing like that. You told me last week those were Baptist puppies. This week you're telling me they're Methodist puppies. What gives? They can't be both."